Hey there. Welcome, everybody. It's time for another episode. And, this one's going to be so good. So good. Let's get started.
Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Ah. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Oh, oh, oh. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Ah. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Ah. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Oh, oh, oh. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery. Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery.
I don't know why I'm giving you the full minute and a half here.
Mystery.
Get rid of that. Okay. Hey, welcome to the Web O Mystery. And as you know, this is a show in which I select old-time radio shows. Big hobby of mine. I love old-time radio shows. And I share them with my friends, just like you. And a lot of my friends are here, and that's awesome. But we're always waiting for new people. Frankly, I'm going to be really, really honest with you. I am so scared of new people following the show. Isn't that terrible? I'm just allergic to success. I love performing for my friends, and I'm very happy you're here. But finding a really big audience, that is so frightening to me. But good bunch tonight. I got Stevie, I got Diana J, and I have Joe Townsell. Joe Townsell, with whom I normally work during this shift, doing Retro Rangers, and that show will be returning soon, and that'll be wonderful. I'll be so happy to be working with Joe again, because right now I'm just working with me, and frankly, I'm hell to work with. I'm awful. I hate working with me. I like working with Joe. A stranger is a friend you haven't met yet, John. That's true. That's always been true in my life. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, that was Stevie who said that. Because Diana pointed out that, wait a minute. A stranger is a friend you haven't pissed off yet. Stevie, how do you know me better than Diana? That's crazy. But Stevie knows me very well. So let's talk about tonight's show. It is an episode of Suspense, and Suspense is one of the gold standard shows of old-time radio. It was an anthology, and it had many, many different guest stars and a lot of different formats, and it basically ran for about 20 years. And that's fantastic. A few shows did that in radio. They tended to be extremely high-quality shows. Suspense is one of those shows. This episode comes from 1943. So if we think back to the United States in 1943, this was recorded in New York City. The war has been going for almost 2 years at this point. It is a World War II. It is a very tough time. And I want to tell you about a writer named Lucille Fletcher. Lucille Fletcher was a genius. She was an excellent student through all of school and high school. She went to Vassar. She graduated with honors. She was a tremendous writer. She managed to get a job at CBS, basically as a typist, and then later as a file clerk. Of course, not a lot of opportunities for women in the late 30s and early 40s. She started publishing stories in magazines, and radio would go through stories so fast and so solidly that if you were writing good pieces for magazines, you would get someone to come to you at some point and say, hey, we'd love to make your show into an episode of radio. So there was a show called The Radio Workshop, and she had a couple of stories adapted for radio for those. Well, she would hear these stories and go, I could write a better script than that. It's based off my story. Why don't I start writing radio scripts? She was working for CBS. And there's another little thing, too, that I hate to throw out there because I don't want to take away from the genius of Lucille Fletcher, and she very much was a genius. She was also married to Bernard Herrmann. Bernard Herrmann was the composer of thriller music. He wrote so much music for Alfred Hitchcock and for Hitchcock's films. So much. He had a fantastic handle on exciting music. So, it kind of ran in the family for them that thrillers would be something they would do. In 1943, Lucille was getting revenge. See, a couple years earlier, she had been in a grocery store and one of her babies was homesick, and she just wanted to buy some soup and some milk and some bread and eggs, just get the basics and then get home to her sick kid. But she couldn't do that because there was a woman at the store throwing a big public fit, a big giant tantrum. This woman was being what we would call nowadays a Karen. And it just infuriated Lucille Fletcher, just infuriated her. She just wanted to get home to take care of her kid. So she planned the best revenge that she could come up with. And I think it was pretty good. I think you're going to agree with me too. She said, that woman who caused that scene and who was so obnoxious and so awful, I'm going to make that woman into a character. And she's going to be in one of my pieces. And it's not going to go well for her. Hope I'm not giving away the ending. She waited and waited and waited for an idea. And finally, the idea she came up with became Sorry, Wrong Number. So now I got to tell you, this has always been a hard show for me to listen to because it can be a little grating on the nerves. I'll just warn you ahead of time. But we have each other to chat with over in the chat here on the show. So actually, for you, it's over here. We can talk about it as it goes. It is a journey. This story, worth it, totally worth it. It became so successful that not only Lucille Fletcher was able to expand her career exponentially from it, but the actor who was tasked with playing this character, Agnes Moorehead, she became a legend. Agnes Moorehead, after this show, became one of the most sought after actresses. And the show Suspense, the series that she was on, had her back more than any other celebrity they'd ever had back. She did I think she did 10 or 9 episodes of Suspense. That's more than most stars ever got to do. And they called her the First Lady of Suspense. Agnes Moorehead is fantastic. You know I love her. If you don't know I love her, no, that I love her. We would know Agnes Moorehead. TV viewers would know her from Bewitched, where she played Endora, the mother of Samantha, the witch that we are all in love with. And she was very funny and very clever. But how did she become a star? A few different jobs, but this was the main one. She was the one who made Sorry, Wrong Number a huge honking hit. Now, later it did become a movie, which was written by Lucille Fletcher. And because it was a big, full, 90-minute plus movie, Lucille Fletcher added a lot of things to the story, and it became a very well-loved and well-respected film noir. But where did it all begin? With this broadcast we are going to listen to right now. So, my friends, here we go. One of the most legendary episodes of radio to ever exist, and I hope you enjoy it. This is Sorry, Wrong Number.
Suspense. For you men and women in the armed forces of the United Nations, the Special Service Division presents one of America's top spine tinglers. A radio program dedicated to the mysterious, the unusual, and sometimes the supernatural. A program of suspense.
Your call, please.
Operator, I've been dialing Murray Hill 70093 now for the last 3/4 of an hour, and the line is always busy. I don't see how it could be busy that long. Will you try it for me, please?
I'll be glad to try that number for you. One moment, please.
I don't see how it could be busy all this time. It's my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I'm all alone here in the house. My health is very poor, and I've been feeling so nervous all day.
Ringing Murray Hill 70093.
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Is Mr. Stevenson there?
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hello, George.
Yes, sir. This is George speaking.
Hello? Who's this? What number am I calling, please?
I'm here with our client now. He says the coast is clear for tonight.
Yes, sir.
Where are you now?
In a phone booth. Don't worry. Everything's okay.
Very well. Now, you know the address. At 11 o'clock, the private patrolman goes around to the bar on 2nd Avenue for a beer. Be sure that all the lights downstairs are on, eh? There should be only one light visible from the street. At 11:15, a train crosses the bridge. It makes a noise in case her window is open and she should scream.
Oh, hello. What number is this, please?
Okay. I understand.
Now make it quick. As little blood as possible, eh? Our client does not wish to make her suffer long.
Will a knife be okay, sir?
Yeah, the knife will be okay. And do you remember the other details?
Yeah, I know. Remove the rings and bracelets and the jewelry in the bureau drawer.
That's right. Our client wishes it to look like simple robbery.
Now, don't worry. Everything is going to be okay.
All right, then. Be sure to...
Oh, how awful, how unspeakably awful. Oh.
Your call, please.
Operator, I've just been cut off.
I'm sorry. What number were you calling?
Why, it was supposed to be Murray Hill 70093, but it wasn't. Some wires must have got crossed. I was cut into a wrong number, and I've just heard the most dreadful thing. Something about a murder. And, operator, you'll simply have to retrace that call at once.
I beg your pardon. May I help you?
Oh, I know it was a wrong number, and I had no business listening, but these two men, they were cold-blooded fiends, and they were going to murder somebody, some poor innocent woman who was all alone in a house near a bridge, and we've got to stop them. We've got to...
What number were you calling, please?
Well, that doesn't matter. This was a wrong number, and you dialed it for me, and we've got to find out what it was immediately.
What number did you call?
Oh, why are you so stupid? What time is it? Do you mean to tell me you can't find out what that number was just now?
I'll connect you with the chief operator.
Oh, I think it's perfectly shameful. Now, look, it was obviously a case of some little slip of the finger. I told you to try Murray Hill 70093 for me. You dialed it, but your finger must have slipped, and I was connected with some other number. And I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me. Now, I simply fail to see why you couldn't make that same mistake again on purpose, why you couldn't try to dial Murray Hill 70093 in the same sort of careless way.
Murray Hill 70093. I will try to get it for you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Murray Hill 70093 is busy. I will call you
Operator! Operator, will you answer me?
Your call, please.
Well, you didn't try to get that wrong number at all. I asked you explicitly, and all you did was dial correctly.
I'm sorry. What number are you calling?
Oh, can't you for once forget what number I'm calling and do something for me? Now, I want to trace that call. It's my civic duty, it's your civic duty to trace that call and apprehend those dangerous killers. And if you won't...
I will connect you with the chief operator.
Please. Oh. Answer.
This is the chief operator.
Oh, chief operator, I want you to trace a call, a telephone call immediately. I don't know where it came from or who was making it, but it's absolutely necessary that it be tracked down because it was about a murder that someone's planning. A terrible, cold-blooded murder of a poor innocent woman tonight at 11:15.
I see.
Well, can you trace it for me? Can you track down those men?
I'm not certain. It depends.
Depends on what?
It depends on whether the call is still going on. If it's a live call, we can trace it on the equipment. If it's been disconnected, we can't.
Disconnected?
If the parties have stopped talking to each other.
Oh, but of course they must have stopped talking to each other by now. That was at least 5 minutes ago, and they didn't sound like the type who would make a long call.
Well, I can try tracing it. May I have your name, please?
Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Elbert Stevenson. Now, but listen.
And your telephone number, please.
Oh, Plaza 42295. But if you go on wasting all this time...
Why do you want the call traced, please?
Why? Well... Oh, no reason. No reason. I merely felt very strongly that something ought to be done about it. These men sounded like killers. They're dangerous. They're going to murder this woman at 11:15 tonight, and I thought the police ought to know.
Have you reported this to the police?
Well, no, not yet.
You want this call checked purely as a private individual?
Yes, but meanwhile...
I'm sorry, Mrs. Stevenson, but I'm afraid we couldn't make this check for you and trace the call just in your say-so as a private individual.
Well,
we'd have to do something more official.
Oh, for heaven's sake. You mean to tell me I can't report that there's going to be a murder without getting tied up in all this red tape? Why, it's perfectly idiotic. Well, all right. I'll call the police.
Thank you. I'm sure that would be the best way to...
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's perfectly ridiculous. All this red tape. Oh.
Your call, please.
The police department. Get me the police department, please.
Thank you. Ringing the police department.
Okay.
Police station, precinct 43, Sergeant Martin speaking.
Police Department, this is Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Elbert Smythe Stevenson of 53 North Sutton Place. I'm calling up to report a murder. I mean, the murder hasn't been committed yet, but I just overheard plans for it over the telephone, over a wrong number that the operator gave me. I've been trying to trace down the call myself, but everybody is so stupid, and I guess in the end you're the only people who could do anything.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it was a perfectly definite murder. I heard their plans distinctly. Two men were talking, and they were going to murder some woman at 11:15 tonight. She lived in a house near a bridge. Are you listening to me?
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a private patrolman on the street. He was going to go around for a beer on 2nd Avenue, and there was some third man, a client, who was paying to have this poor woman murdered. They were going to take her rings and bracelets and use a knife. Well, it's unnerved me dreadfully, and I'm not well.
I see. When was all this, ma'am?
Well, about 8 minutes ago. Oh, then you can do something. You do understand.
What is your name, ma'am?
Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Elbert Stevenson.
And your address?
53 North Sutton Place. 53 North Sutton Place. That's near a bridge. The Queensboro Bridge, you know, and we have a private patrolman on our street, and 2nd Avenue.
And what was the number you were calling?
Murray Hill 70093. But that wasn't the number I overheard. I mean, Murray Hill 70093 is my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I was trying to reach him to ask him to come home. I'm an invalid, you know, and it's the maid's night off, and I hate to be alone, even though he says I'm perfectly safe as long as I have the telephone right beside my bed.
Well, we'll look into it, Mrs. Stevenson. And we'll see if we can check it with the telephone company.
But the telephone company said they couldn't check the call if the parties had stopped talking. I've already taken care of that.
Oh, you have?
Yes, and personally, I feel you want to do something far more immediate and drastic than just check the call. What good does checking the call do if they stop talking? By the time you track it down, they'll already have committed the murder.
Well, we'll take care of it, don't you worry.
Well, I'd say the whole thing calls for a search, a complete and thorough search of the whole city. Now, I'm very near the bridge, and I'm not far from 2nd Avenue, and I know I'd feel a lot better if you sent around a radio car to this neighborhood at once.
And what makes you think the murder's going to be committed in your neighborhood,
Oh,
ma'am?
well, I don't know. Only the coincidence is so horrible. 2nd Avenue and patrolman and the bridge.
2nd Avenue is a very long street, ma'am.
I know it.
And you know how many bridges there are in the city of New York alone.
Oh.
Not to mention Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, and the Bronx.
I know.
How do you know there isn't some little house out on Staten Island on some little 2nd Avenue you've never even heard about?
Oh.
How do you know they're even talking about New York at all?
But I heard the call on the New York dialing system.
Maybe it was a long-distance call you overheard. And telephones are funny things. Look, lady, why don't you look at it this way? Supposing you hadn't broken in on that telephone call. Supposing you'd got your husband the way you always do. You wouldn't be upset, would you?
No, I suppose not, only it sounded so inhuman, so cold-blooded.
Well, a lot of murders are plotted in this city every day, ma'am.
Well,
we manage to prevent most all of them, but a clue of this kind is so vague. Isn't much more use to it than no clue at all.
But surely you...
Unless, of course, you have some reason for thinking this call was phony, and that somebody may be planning to murder you.
Me? Oh, well, no, I hardly think so. Well, I mean, why should anybody? I'm alone all day and night. I see nobody except my maid, Eloise, and she's a big girl. She weighs 200 pounds. She's too lazy to bring up my breakfast tray, and the only other person is my husband, Albert. He's crazy about me. He just adores me. He waits on me hand and foot. Has scarcely left my side since I took sick 12 years ago.
Well, and there's nothing for you to worry about.
But...
Now, if you'll just leave the rest of this to us, we'll
But
take
what
care
will you do? It's so late. It's nearly 11 now.
We'll take care of it, lady.
Well, will you broadcast it all over the city and send out squads and warn your radio cars to watch out, especially in suspicious neighborhoods like mine?
Lady, I said we'd take care of it. Just now, I've got a couple of other matters here on my desk that require immediate attention. Good night, ma'am, and thank you.
Oh, you idiot. Oh, now, why did I hang up the phone like that? Now he'll think I am a fool. Oh, why doesn't Albert come home? Why doesn't he?
Your call, please.
Operator, for heaven's sake, will you ring that Murray Hill 70093 number again? I can't think what's keeping him so long.
I will try it for you.
Well, try. Oh. So nervous. Why does she take so long?
I'm sorry. Murray Hill 70093 is busy. I will call you.
I can hear it. You don't have to tell me. I know it's busy. If I could only get out of this bed for a little while. If I could get a breath of fresh air, or just lean out of the window, or see the street. Hello, Albert? Hello? Oh, what's the matter with this phone? Hello? Hello? Oh, for heaven's sake, who is this? Hello? Oh, who's trying to... Oh, why didn't
Your call, please.
Hello, operator. I don't know what's the matter with this telephone tonight, but it's positively driving me crazy. I've never seen such inefficient, miserable service. Now, look. I'm an invalid, and I'm very nervous, and I'm not supposed to be annoyed. But if this keeps on much longer...
What seems to be the trouble, please?
Well, everything's wrong. I haven't had one bit of satisfaction out of one call I've made this evening. The whole world could be murdered for all you people care. And now my phone keeps ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing every 5 seconds or so. And when I pick it up, there's no one there.
I'm sorry. If you will hang up, I will test it for you.
I don't want you to test it for me. I want you to put that call through, whatever it is, at once.
I'm afraid I cannot do
You
that.
can't, and why? Why, may I ask?
The dial system is automatic.
Oh.
If someone is trying to dial your number, there is no way to check whether the call is coming through the system or not.
Oh.
Unless the person who is trying to reach you complains to his particular operator.
Well, of all this stupid... And meanwhile, I've got to sit here in my bed suffering every time that phone rings, imagining everything.
I will try to check the trouble for you.
Check it. That's all anybody can do. Oh, what's the use of talking to you? You're stupid. I'll fix her. Of all the impudence. Oh, how dare she speak to me like that? How dare she speak to me like that? Oh.
Your call, please.
Young woman, I don't know your name, but there are ways of finding you out. And I'm going to report you to your superiors for the most unpardonable rudeness and insolence that has ever been my privilege. Give me the business office at once.
You may dial that number direct.
Dial it direct? I'll do no such thing. I don't even know the number.
The number is in the dial directory, or you may secure it by dialing information.
Now listen here. Oh, what's the use? Oh. Oh, for heaven's sake, I'm going out of my mind. Hello? Stop ringing me, do you hear? Answer me. Who is this? You realize you're driving me crazy? Who's calling me? What are you doing it for? Now stop it, I say. Hello? If you don't stop ringing me, I'm going to call the police. You hear? The police! Oh, if Albert would only come home. Oh, let it ring. Let it go on ringing. It's a trick of some kind. And I won't answer it. I won't, even if it goes on ringing all night. I won't answer it. Now what's the matter? Why did they stop ringing all of a sudden? What time is it? Oh, where did I put that clock? 11. Oh, they've decided something. They're sure I'm home. They heard my voice answer them just now. That's why they've been ringing me. Why no one has answered me. Call that operator again. Oh, where is she? Why doesn't she answer? Oh, operator. Why doesn't she answer?
Your call, please.
Where Where were you just now? Why didn't you answer at once? Give me the police department.
I'm sorry. Just a minute.
Oh. Oh.
I'm sorry. The line is busy. I will call you.
Busy? Busy? But that's impossible. The police department can't be busy. There must be other lines available.
The line is busy.
Oh.
I will try to get them for you later.
No, I've got to speak to them now, or it may be too late. I've got to talk to someone.
What number do you wish to speak to?
I don't know, but there must be someone to protect people beside the police department. A detective agency.
You will find agencies listed in the classified directory.
But I don't have a classified directory. I mean, I'm too nervous to
I
look
will
it up,
connect
and
you
I
with
don't know.
information. Perhaps she will be able to help you.
No. Oh, you're being spiteful, aren't you? You don't care, do you, what happens to me? I could die and you wouldn't care. Oh, stop it! Stop it! I can't stand anymore. Hello? What do you want? Stop ringing, will you? Stop it.
Hello? Is this Plaza 42295?
Yes, I'm sorry. This is Plaza 42295.
This is Western Union.
Yes.
I have a telegram here for Mrs. Albert Stevenson.
Yes.
Is there anyone there to receive the message?
Yes, I'm Mrs. Stevenson.
The telegram is as follows. Mrs. Albert Stevenson, 53 North Second Place, New York, New York. Darling, terribly sorry. Tried to get you for last hour, but line busy.
Oh.
Leaving for Boston, 11 p.m. tonight on urgent business. Back tomorrow afternoon. Keep happy. Love, signed, Albert.
Oh, no.
Do you wish us to deliver a copy of the message?
No. No, thank you.
Thank you, madam. Good night.
Good night. Oh, no. No, I don't believe it. He couldn't do it. Not when he knows I'll be all alone. It's some trick. It's some trick. Some fiendish trick. I know. Oh, I'm so nervous. Oh, what is the answer?
Your call, please.
Operator, try that Murray Hill 70093 number for me just once more, please.
You may dial that number direct.
Oh. Oh. 9, 3. Oh, he's gone. Oh, Albert, how could you? How could you? Oh, I can't be alone tonight. I can't. If I'm alone one more second, I'll go mad. I don't care what he says or what the expense is. I'm a sick woman. I'm entitled
This is information. May I help you?
I want the telephone number of Hensley Hospital.
Hensley Hospital?
Yes.
Do you have the street address?
No, it's somewhere in the 70s. It's a very small, private and exclusive hospital where I had my appendix out 2 years ago. Hensley, H-E-N-C-A.
Wait a moment.
Well, will you please hurry and please, what is the time?
You may find out the time by dialing Meridian 71212.
Oh, for heaven's sake, I've no time to be dialing.
The number of Hensley Hospital is Butterfield 70105.
Butterfield 70105. Yeah.
Hensley Hospital. Good evening.
Nurse's registry.
Who is it you wish to speak to, please?
I want the nurse's registry at once. I want a trained nurse. I want to hire immediately for the night.
I see. And what is the nature of the case, madam?
Nerves. I'm very nervous. I need soothing and companionship. You see, my husband is away, and I'm...
Have you been recommended to us by any doctor in particular, madam?
No, but I really don't see why all this catechizing is necessary. I just want to train nurse. I was a patient in your hospital 2 years ago, and after all, I do expect to pay this person for attending me.
We quite understand that, madam, but these are war times, you know.
I know that.
Registered nurses are very scarce just now. And our superintendent has asked us to send people out only on cases where the physician in charge feels it's absolutely necessary.
Well, it is absolutely necessary. I'm a sick woman. I'm very much upset, very. I'm alone in this house, and I'm an invalid, and tonight I overheard a telephone conversation that upset me dreadfully. In fact, if someone doesn't come at once, I'm afraid I'll go out of my mind.
I see. Well, I'll speak to Miss Phillips as soon as she comes in. And what is your name, madam?
Miss Phillips? And when do you expect her in?
I really couldn't say. She went out to supper at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock? But it's not 11 o'clock yet. Oh, my clock has stopped. I thought it was running down. What time is it?
Just 15 minutes past 11.
What was that?
What, madam?
That click just now in my own telephone. As though someone had lifted the receiver off the hook of the extension telephone downstairs.
Well, I didn't hear it, madam. Now, about this...
But I did. There's someone in this house. Someone downstairs in the kitchen. And they're listening to me now. They're listening! I won't pick it up. I won't let them hear me. I won't let them hear me. I'll be quiet. I'll be so quiet. And they'll think, oh, but if I don't call someone now, while they're still down there, wait, there'll be no time.
Your call, please.
Operator, I'm in desperate trouble.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. Please speak louder.
I don't dare. There's someone listening. Can you hear me now?
I'm sorry.
Oh, but you've got to hear me. Oh, please, you've got to help me. There's someone in this house. Someone who's going to murder me. And you've got to get in touch with... Oh, there it is. There it is. Did you hear it? He's put it down. He's put down the extension phone. He's coming up. He's coming upstairs. Okay, give me the police department. The police department. Give me the police department.
One moment, please. I will connect you.
I can hear him. Oh, I can hear him. He's coming nearer. Oh, I know it. Hurry! Hurry! Hurry, please! Ah! Ah!
Oh, police department. Oh, I'm sorry. Must have got the wrong number.
Precinct 43, Sergeant Martin speaking. Police Department, Martin speaking. Police Department, Martin speaking.
Oh, police department?
Police Department.
I'm sorry. Must have got the wrong number. Don't worry. Everything's okay.
And so closes Sorry, Wrong Number, starring Agnes Moorehead, tonight's tale of Suspense.
Oh my God! I never noticed that. Oh my God! The guy jumped the queue. Oh my God! That is amazing. The most important line in the whole thing, and he jumped the cue.
Suspense was rebroadcast for you soldiers, sailors, and Marines of the United Nations by the Special Service Division of the War Department of the United States of America.
Looks like he didn't wait for the cop to say his line. He said his line before the cop cued him for the line. That's what it sounded like anyway. Oh my God, I had no idea they met. Oh, that is wild. You feel helpless. I mean, that's one of the really powerful things about this show is the murder hasn't happened yet. You know it's going to happen, and then you're actually a witness. And that would happen in radio sometimes, but not built up in the way that this was. So, again, I'm sorry I messed up her name earlier and said Louise. I'm sure that if it had been me on the show, I could have easily blown the cue at the end. It could easily have been me. But Lucille Fletcher, just fantastic. The kind of writer who definitely pushed all the other writers to up their game, because she had very much a mind of her own. She, as I said in the beginning, she was a genius, and really probably one of the masters or mistresses, if you will, of the psychological drama. We all know the name Alfred Hitchcock, but more people should know the name Lucille Fletcher. Joe says, it made me feel like the killer is coming after me next. I mean, that's just good storytelling, right? And the nice thing about radio is, in those days, it was live. So it's all unfolding for you for the first time, and you know it's live. And I think that helps. And we're all literally in Agnes Moorehead's place by the end. That I totally agree with that, Diana. Totally. And again, I can't say enough about it. What an interesting main character. Not likable, not someone who I thought was going to triumph in the end. And when you put all the pieces together and you realize her husband has set this up, her husband is the client. I don't know why I'm ruining it for everybody. You can figure it out for yourself. It's fantastic. The movie did extremely well. And I will tell you a sad story about the movie. By the time the movie came out, Agnes Moorehead was in her 50s, I believe, or 48. No, I think she was 48, because I believe the movie came out in 1948. What was... Do not do that to me. You made me look. Joe saying, John, behind you, you son of a gun. Yeah, you nearly got me. I did have to look at the picture. Wait, what's behind? In order to make a full movie out of it, they did not hire Agnes Moorehead. And that's a shame. That is a shame. They hired Barbara Stanwyck, who was another great actor, but, she's no Agnes Moorehead. The husband actually was a presence on the screen, played by Burt Lancaster. Most people knew the story by then, but the movie script had been written by Lucille Fletcher, so she was able to manage some really cool stuff in the movie. To me, they're just two separate stories. I always feel like the movie is an expansion on the radio show, but a different story altogether. And it doesn't ruin it for me, though I am a big proponent of the original. I will say, though, that it's funny that that guy messes up the end of the mystery, because it aired again. They performed it again. What was it? Almost 3 months later in August, because radio shows were one and done. You do a radio show, you don't play a repeat of it. That never happened, especially in the early 40s. It was still kind of early days for radio, and they had a lot of rules. And one of the rules was no repeats. As a matter of fact, the reason why we're listening to an Armed Forces Radio Service recording is because those are some of the few recordings that survived. These discs that were sent all around the world to be played for people who were on bases and behind enemy lines, or at enemy lines. Let's be really realistic here. So we heard that recording. They did another one because people who weren't listening to the show were like, I can't believe I missed that. My friends are telling me it was so good. So at Suspense, they were like, okay, call Agnes Moorehead. We're going to record it again. And they did another recording of it. That happened a couple of times. This was one of the first radio shows that received its own record album. It became a record. That was really rare in those days because it was a story that people would tell each other about. Oh, did you hear that radio show where there's the woman who thinks she's hearing a murder being plotted and, she's yelling at the operator. Word of mouth was so huge for this that it became a legend. And I will say this, the happy ending to the story, I think, for Agnes Moorehead, I hope she would agree, is that Suspense just fell in love with her. They were like, this is a star. And as I told you earlier, she appeared on more episodes of Suspense than any other actor, male or female, famous or infamous, or a character actor like Agnes Moorehead. And the beautiful thing about it, as you listen to the later episodes she does of other stories in which she stars, they introduce her as the First Lady of Suspense, Agnes Moorehead. She was their main actor. I love that. That's a good ending to that story. Stevie figured it out for me. Yes, the movie was in 1948. As Joe says, good choice of Stanwyck, but Agnes would have been great in the movie too. Absolutely. You know how movies are made. At the time, Barbara Stanwyck was not in her character actor phase yet. She was still quite the hottie, and they wanted that. Another line from Joe. I wonder if the first presentation was better than the second, or if they were largely indistinguishable. I listened to the first 5 minutes of each one of them to decide which one I was going to play for you. I was like, no, I should really play the first one, the very first one. Which is why I ended up doing that, and why I ended up playing you the one where one of the actors blows the ending. Live radio, man. All right, well, here we are. Show's just about 50 minutes at this point, and you know me, I like to keep these under an hour if I can. That's our only one this week. I did want to ask, though, so I'll give you a couple of minutes if you want to, in the chat, give me your vote. I would like to play for you a radio detective. Now, there are some very famous literary radio detectives. And I'm thinking specifically of the Raymond Chandler characters. So Sam Spade had his own series. It was very good. And Philip Marlowe had his own series. That was very good. But there were some unusual detectives as well. I happen to love one named Richard Diamond. Oh, gosh. I always have a hard time remembering the name of the guy who played him. The guy who played him was a singer. He was not an actor. And he was really great in the part because there was just so much about him that just did not give an did not give an F, did not give an S. Oh my gosh, who's that actor? I'll find that out. And eventually I will play all of these characters for you. So would you like to hear from a Sam Spade or a Philip Marlowe? Would you like to hear Richard Diamond? There's another one that I'll play for you eventually. Eventually, I'll get to this one. But we could do it next week if you want. It's called Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar. And he's the man with the action-packed expense account. And he basically is an insurance investigator. And that's great. Also, there's Hopalong Cassidy. He was a cowboy, of course, but nearly every one of his shows was a whodunit, which I love. Cowboys solving mysteries. I freaking love that. Some great suggestions from Stevie. You are so right. Box 13. Box 13, beloved. Alan Ladd was the star of Box 13. And then Nick Carter. Nick Carter, one of considered in the literary world as the American equivalent of Sherlock Holmes. By the way, multiple Sherlock Holmes series. We could always listen to Sherlock. As Stevie says, lots of stories to choose from. So the votes are coming in. Diana J wants to hear some Johnny Dollar. I just love that. A lot of people know who Johnny Dollar is because Rachel Maddow loves Johnny Dollar too. And she's got excellent taste. I absolutely love that. Joe says he votes for Sam Spade. Sam Spade is so classic. Such a classic detective and a great way to meet the hard-boiled film noir detective. Raymond Chandler wrote them like nobody's business. Okay, so Diana J is definitely for Johnny Dollar. David Jansen played Richard Diamond on TV. I forgot all about that. That's right. Very, very famous character. Dick Powell. Thank you so much, Raphael. Thank you. Dick Powell, the singer, played Richard Diamond. And he was a carefree detective. Very great sense of humor. Absolutely loved that. Joe accuses Diana of stuffing the ballot box. Sam Spade, always a solid pick. Well, I'm going to play all of these detectives for you. That's one reason why we are the Web-O Mystery. I do like to play scary. I like to play anthologies. I like to play thrillers. But I also want to play some mysteries for you and show off some of the great detectives that was. Diana says, I resemble that accusation, Joe. Or we could roll a 20-sided die. Stevie suggests. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Next week, Sam Spade. And then the week after that, I'll come up with another. Why don't we do this? Next week, we'll go with a conventional detective from the hard-boiled film noir genre and, noir radio. We're not doing film here. So we'll do Sam Spade next week. The week after that, we'll do Johnny Dollar. I really cannot wait. Yes. I cannot wait to do that. Okay, so Sam Spade next week. Week after that, yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Oh my gosh, Raphael. Oh, what an amazing choice. Frank Sinatra as Rocky Fortune. You know what? I'm just going to make sure I write this down because I love that show. And it does not get enough credit for even existing. And here I am. Oh, and eventually, to get deeper into the genre of police procedurals, we eventually do have to listen to some Dragnet. Absolutely. Okay, so Raphael, you gave me Rocky Fortune. Okay. And I only wish that Encyclopedia Brown got a radio show. I will say this though, I'm the radio nerd. 5-minute mysteries and minute mysteries did debut on radio. So in a way, Encyclopedia Brown was part of it. Some great suggestions here. Great suggestions. Okay. I think Spider Hat is sticking around. It's actually very difficult to work with. That's another great call, Raphael. Bold Venture. Bogart and Bacall started in their own radio show based on their characters from Key Largo, and it was called Bold Venture. And there was a lot of noir in that as well. And of course, we do love our we did some Dragnet as to the TV version, and a little bit about Jack Webb, because Jack Webb did a lot of mysteries. He played a lot of detectives in his day. Jack Webb, mystery. I think we should wind it up right here. What a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you'll come back 5 p.m. Sunday. That's our West Coast time. 8 p.m. if you're on the East Coast time. And we're just going to keep it going next week. Sam Spade. Did I say that? I think I did. Sam Spade next week. And then after that, Johnny Dollar. And we will be doing some unexpected and some lovely stuff. So glad that you were here for the show. So glad you found us, Raphael. You are among your friends. Absolutely. Great show. Cannot wait to see you again. Yeah, Raphael, it's the stuff, isn't it? It is the stuff. Same web time, same Weber channel. Thank you, Stevie. Thank you, Raphael, for all the good suggestions. Cannot thank you enough. And hey, tell your friends, everybody. I don't know. I'm not promoting the show. Why should you? But I'm glad you were with me for this one. Have a great week. We will see you. Bye-bye.